What's going on, guys? We're going to talk about a very touchy subject in this video. This video has specifically to do with a lot of different things related to food and your relationship with food. That way you can understand how to move through it. Now, this is more of an information basis video, not more so how to work through and heal your relationship with food, but it will give you a lot of background. There's a couple things to watch for in this video specifically. It's going to help you understand how to move through certain eating habits and potential EDs that have held you back in your relationship with food or your fitness journey or just your overall health journey. The point of the video and the group call that I facilitated with my entire community is to help and educate them so that way they understand how these types of patterns come up and where they could show up as well. Now, if you struggle with your relationship with food and you don't really know how to move through it and you find yourself falling back into old habits very often, I definitely recommend getting a professional to look at your lifestyle, look at your habits, and look at your mindset to make sure that you can move through all those things in a very step-by-step manner so that way it doesn't feel overwhelming, because that's the main thing that I see with my clients is they struggle with their relationship with food and it feels very overwhelming to tackle everything all at once. Now, inside of my coaching program, I help clients build their relationship with food and understand their patterns and their mindset and their overall health decisions around food so that way they can continue to see more progress, because I know that a lot of people coming into my program struggle with tackling everything all at once, and I know it can feel overwhelming. And my goal is to help you understand and give you a plan and foundation to help you tackle those things step by step without feeling overwhelmed and without feeling like you have to do fasting or you have to do keto or you have to eat whole food all the time. I want to make sure that you build a relationship with food that fits your lifestyle and not a relationship with food that is built around social media. It's more so, let's look at the lifestyle habits that you have specifically. That way we can work through those things and then build foundation, because we're building a house on concrete, not sand. I want to make sure that you as a client in my community understand how to work through those things without feeling overwhelmed. I hope you enjoy the educational content going into this video and the group call, and I'll see you in there. Welcome to the group call, everyone, for the recording. So we are going to be talking about disordered eating and behaviors. It might be a touchy subject for some people, but I hope it gives you some educational perspective on what I've learned and what I've gone through, a couple things, and what I've seen and experienced with clients and stuff. So let's get into it. And then let me know if you guys have any questions. Use the chat, por favor, because it's a little bit educational, but a little bit, healing as well. There's some questions and prompts at the end. So disordered eating and behaviors. So here's what we're going to talk about. Risk factors in the fitness community, disordered eating behaviors we may see, and how to best help. What is disordered eating? Why is this not, what the hell? There we go. Okay, there we go. We classify disordered eating generally as behavior that surrounds food and exercise that may have a negative impact on any part of a person's well-being and or quality of life. Questions to ask yourself throughout this call: does the behavior make you ill? Does it harm your body because you're not eating enough? Does it impact your daily life? Does it give you anxiety? Do you feel the need to engage in the behavior? And if you don't, what happens? And then food and exercise become more important than anything else. That's like not necessarily a question, but it's more so a framework to think about. And also for disordered eating, what do we think about when we think about the fitness space? I'm sure, let's actually, enter in the chat. Drop it in the chat what you guys think about the fitness space in the context of disordered eating or just eating in general. If you guys can guess. There's not one right answer. There's several. But put what you think. Just pull up the chat. What do we think when we think about the fitness space in terms of eating and nutrition? Eating without purpose. Okay, that's good. I like that. Sky. Eating healthy food all the time. Yes. That's fair. That's very good. You like that, Rudy? Anyone else? Izzy, I think that there's a stereotype of people religiously tracking food and restricting themselves too much. Yes, that's good. Good awareness. Restricting what you eat. Jeff, nice. Good. Perfect. These are good answers, guys. Okay. So when we think about the fitness space, we think about highly driven, ambitious type A personalities and go-getters, right? And kind of like Izzy said, there's a stereotype of people religiously tracking their food and, they're go-getters and shit. They're highly regimented and routine-oriented people. And then they have a high degree of focus on enhancing their body through nutrition, training, and other lifestyle factors. Automated in a sense. So our general routine could be considered disordered or abnormal by a general population, kind of exactly what Izzy said. Everyone said this, restricting what you eat, eating healthy food all the time, like to, I would say 95% of the people in the world that don't do what we do, tracking our food, going to the gym often, understanding nutrition, gut health, and all those things, like this is considered disordered, right? When your friends make fun of you not going and eating a slice of pizza when you're on a serious regimen. So tracking macros can be considered disordered. Tracking steps, eating certain types of foods for your goals, flexible dieting may be even considered or disordered. The point is here, we mirror similar disordered eating behaviors from a relative point of view, right? Relative to the general population, we are disordered. But that's just because Western culture is disordered in itself. So here's some red flags. Post-show. This mainly applies to people that compete in bodybuilding. So that way you understand that there's some cycles that go on. And this is kind of what I experienced, and this is why I bring it up. Post-show. Binge eating is most common post-show for bodybuilding. Right after people get super lean and they're on show, binge eating is really, really common. You may have individuals who fear reverse dieting and continue to try and hold their lean physique and low food, high cardio. So this was me, actually. I feared eating more food because I didn't want to I wanted to maintain my lean physique as much as possible and keep my food low. And I kind of pushed back on my coach, and I was like, I don't want to eat that much. So it took me like 3 or 4 weeks to acclimate towards it, which was a little bit longer than most people, but it's okay. Another red flag is jobs and hobbies that require a lot of attention. Other coaches, influencers, models, dancers, high-level athletes, sports that require weight cutting, bodybuilding, all that stuff, where there's a sense of disordered behavior to go along with the hobby and job that you have. Trauma, breakups, and illness. This is definitely one that everyone's gone through, I'm sure. So one thing to notice is control comes from trauma. Control can look like restriction, binging, and bulimia, right? When you're going through a breakup or trauma, illness, pain, whatever, or a mental beat, you're going to try and control as much as you can through food. And some people are on the complete opposite of the spectrum where they let go of control and then just eat everything in sight. There's also that area, which we'll talk about. This is more so restriction and binging. Food and exercise is also a form of self-control. So we have anorexia athletica. And then we have breakups and illness and injury can start off as innocent with lowered appetite, but can lead to other things. So, for example, in my past, I had an eating disorder. And then someone goes through a breakup. That person goes through a breakup, and then trauma may come up and show up as disordered eating. So that's why I'm saying if you have areas in your life where you've had these disordered eating behaviors, then it can be common for it to come back up when you go through some sort of trauma, because that was your form of control back then. And some people don't notice it. It can come in a lot of different ways. Your body can start to get sick, or you can just go through basically crashing out, going through a mental B of some sort. and then you don't want to eat, or you want to eat everything. And that's why people tie emotional triggers to food. And when they get those emotional triggers, the only way to control those emotional triggers is by actually eating the food or restricting the food. And big stressors are a red flag too. So for those that have a history of ED, the control urges come back up as to comfort you. This is familiar because if we remember from the stress mitigation call, if the body is in stress mode, there you go into panic. And then you go back to familiar habits and identities and thoughts that keep you safe. And why do we do that? Stress isn't necessarily safe in itself, but your goal, your CNS, your central nervous system, your CNS's goal is to keep you safe. So for example, when you're in stress mode, your body ideally wants to find homeostasis, right? You're peaking out, you're in stress, and you want to find homeostasis, which is a neutrality. And that homeostasis can look like these habits and identities and behaviors that you've had in the past. If they weren't properly worked through from a holistic point of view, from a mindset point of view, and healing your relationship with food and so on. But since it's the homeostasis and it's the safe area, that's what your CNS is going to bring you back towards. So it's not necessarily good, but it's safe. And like I said, safe is familiar, not always good, but familiar. So red flags. And we also have responses to body image. So what's up, Emmanuel? We have responses to body image. Consistently not happy and comment on their body often. This used to be fucking me all the time, and I'm sure most of us. It's very normal. This can also be seen, if repetitive throughout the check-in, as talking about the body negatively. Is your body stressing out? Stress can be about being bloated, stress around a woman's period, specifically about feeling fat or gross, and shows you as hyper aware or fixated on changes in your body. So for example, when you're going through something, when you're going through your cycle, or even men, when you're bloated, regardless, you look at this thing that's normal as a part of a human cycle and you want to change it as fast as possible. And that's your response to body image, which is the stress response. And you're just kind of picking your body apart. So very normal, but also something we want to be aware of. And they can trigger some eating habits, right? Like, for example, if you feel bloated, you're going to go into restriction mode and you're not going to eat certain foods to help heal your body instead of restricting it. Tracking food. If someone's tracking food and they always zero out their numbers and they hit their macros on the dot, this used to be fucking me too. I used to play the macro game too hard. Like I would adjust every single ingredient to the gram until my macros and calories were zeroed out. Like everything would have to be on the point. I'd have to be at 200 grams exactly, 250 grams carbs exactly. I was fucking nutty about it. And you also have zero food variety. This is called ARFID, which is avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. So this is mainly when, we can talk about this later. And then if you're tracking your food and random weight spikes, you're going to have that tendency to go into the behavior of restricting, or mostly restricting, right? Because if you're going to random weight spikes, it's usually after a post-free meal or, a cheat meal, whatever you want to call it, or they appear randomly. For example, if I gain 5 pounds tomorrow and I'm still in a cut and I ate in the deficit and I didn't have any sort of free meal or anything, and I just gained a bunch of weight, most people's response would be, I'm not going to eat anything today. And I've seen that happen too. I gained a bunch of weight. I'm going to just not eat anything today and hopefully everything evens out. That's also a red flag. I always tell everyone, just jump back on the train. Just jump back on the train, continue. The plan is the plan because it's the plan. Anyway, and then macro hoarding at night, again, very much me too, especially during bodybuilding prep. This is where you're leaving calories for closer to the nighttime, and then you're scared to go to bed hungry. This was definitely me because my fucking sleep would take a huge hit, especially in prep. And it happens to some people if you're in a calorie deficit for long enough, where sleep and hunger and those two hormones, ghrelin and leptin, decides to basically get imbalanced, this is where you tend to leave a lot of your calories for the end of the day, and it basically, you leave yourself starving for the day that you're supposed to be productive. So it's a fine balance between everything. And then another red flag is lots of artificial sweeteners and sweets in general, sweet meals. So I used to do this too, especially during prep, a lot of stevia and everything, a lot of fucking low calorie syrups and this and that. People like sweet, but when all meals are sweet, this is something to address. Sweets can highlight the same dopamine pathway. This is very important. Pay attention. Sweets can highlight the same dopamine pathway you get from love. Love, connection, people, memories with family, etc. When you experience trauma and stress and you go to sweets, it's trying to suppress this feeling. Because when you're feeling pain, when you're feeling trauma, when you're feeling a breakup, when you're feeling whatever, or you're just feeling like you're crashing out and you need support, or you're sick, the immediate thought, at least for me too, because this is very heavy in Hispanic culture, sweets are the thing. Sweets are everything. And grandma used to just give you all the sweets that you wanted. Mom too, especially if you were in pain. That was their way of showing you love. So when you experience the opposite end of the spectrum, guess what happens? That's your safe zone. So now you go back to it and it's, oh, I need to eat more of this to feel love. It's the only way I can feel validation and love and connection. And you just continue that cycle. That's where I was hardcore in the very deep end of bodybuilding prep, where you're fucking hungry and I'm in pain and tired all the time and I'm stressed out and I'm like, Mom, help me, Mom. So when you're pain and stressed out, welcome guys. When you're pain and stressed out, you go into that cycle and then you want to just eat all the sweets. So, and a couple more red flags. There's a lot of them, as you can see. Exercise is a red flag. Excessive step counts on purpose, not from a job. So if your step count is 20K plus, if your job doesn't require it, then that's a problem. If you feel like you can't take extra rest, even if you should be, if you're training 6 to 7 days a week and your body's literally not responding, or you still train when you're sick and you can't stop to rest, that's a red flag. That's a eating behavior and a training behavior. Or you, the client, fights back when you need to reduce training and cardio, because I see that inflammation and stress and you're not responding to training, or you're not responding to protocol, or your sleep is shit, or your digestion is shit, or you're eating like heavily on the weekend, and you tell me, I'm like, oh, okay, we need to pull back from something. So your form of control when they are stressed, and exercise is their only form of control. So when I say this with love. Oh, okay, let me continue. Plot twist. You don't control shit. Your subconscious does. The subconscious runs the game until you choose to break the cycle and consistently chip away at it. Oops, let me go back. So to add on to this, your subconscious absolutely does run the game. And what I was going to add to this, and I say this with love and from a mindset point of view, if you don't surrender to the protocol and to the process, there's going to be we're just basically going to be butting heads the entire time. Because if there's no surrender, then you're trying to control an aspect of the protocol that you can't. And that feels like there's no control in it. And when there's no control in it, then you start to fight back. Right? And I've seen this happen, not with anyone in here specifically, but there's other people in general in the past that I've had to like, this is why we need to do this. You need to trust that. And it's very much so trying to talk to a brick wall. But at the end of the day, your subconscious as a client or as a person runs the game. Because if you don't heal or recognize any of the patterns and the behaviors, they're going to continue to run the game and show up in very sneaky ways. The subconscious is millions and millions of years old. You are just a speck of time that you've been aware of it, maybe a year. So it's very sneaky. So anyway, let's continue. Dieting and questions. What do your free meals look like? If you have refeeds or free meals or anything like that, what do they look like? Because this will tell you a lot about your relationship with food? What do you normally get? This is good to take a screenshot after we go through all this. Do you binge with free meals, or do you eat until you're comfortably full? Do you make a free meal a free weekend, a free week, a month, or do you completely fuck off and not track? How do you feel after them? Digestive wise, mentally, emotionally, all of it. You can feel lethargic, shame, guilt, happy, satisfied, uncomfortable, stressed, whatever it is. Are you happy in general? Does a refeed really make you happy? Aside from when you're eating your free meal, are you happy? Do you like yourself as a person? Ooh. Ooh. This is a deep question. I just like to throw some spice in there. And then, do you feel fulfilled with protocol, with dieting, with nutrition, with training, with your lifestyle that you're creating? Because again, we're here to build foundation, not just give you a training plan and a nutrition plan. Like, it's more than that. So let's go back. I'll let y'all take a screenshot if you really want, and y'all can voice memo on it, journal on it, whatever you'd like. I'll give it everyone like a 10, 20 seconds. Take a screenshot if you would like. Drop a 1 in the chat if you took a screenshot, and then I'll continue. Nice. Nice, Izzy. Free meals, what do you mean exactly? You're not in the free meal zone yet, Jeff. I think we gave you refeeds. Free meals are basically where one day out of the week, it's AKA cheat meal. I don't like using the word cheat meal though, because cheat meal is a really shitty relationship with food, because we're not supposed to be cheating on a diet that's supposed to be good for us, right? You don't cheat on a relationship that's good for you. So free meals are basically the same thing. I just call them treat meals or free meals or intuitive meals, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. Sky, Rudy, solid. All right. Reverse dieting. So if most of you have, I think there's a couple of you where we've been through a pretty deep deficit and we're ready to reverse, meaning after a show or long dieting periods, reverse plans should be discussed weeks ahead. I've told you guys, that's why we had the spreadsheet, right? Like, I tell you when I'm planning to reverse you and when signs on your body see that it's time to reverse, meaning we talk about what to expect during the reverse. So, and understand that what your headspace looks like when it's time to come for the reverse diet. Because you're going to have more food, you're going to be craving more, and you're going to be hungrier. Because metabolism is going to be kicking right now. Your metabolism is probably a little suppressed being this deep in a diet. So you may not understand until you feel the first hunger and cravings to self-sabotage. So we can discuss what can be done if hunger becomes unbearable and if you're struggling. We also want to move with pace and move the reverse faster and explain how that can help. So this is what my coach tried to do for me, because when I was in dieting for prep, for bodybuilding prep, I was around 1,600 calories and my maintenance is like 3,200. So I basically cut my calories in half, but like a big half. That's a lot of food for me. So Andrew asked, wait, can you still lose weight while reversing back to maintenance? Yes, you can. You can. I've had people do it. I've seen it. I lost weight. And you can also gain weight too. Because remember, you're going to be eating most of your food, not most of it, but a majority of it, same thing, is going to be coming back from carbs, right? And when carbs come back into your body, it can fill out your muscles first, because your muscles hold glycogen, which is just a pretty word for carbs. And you won't look so flat anymore, because right now your muscles probably look flat. Your strength is probably not as high as it used to be. And your muscles will start to fill out. Your pumps will be better at the gym. And after your muscles fill out, the water from the glycogen starts to flow into like your liver and elsewhere. So you will gain more weight or lose it depending on what your metabolism needs. And here's what I'm going to tell you, Andrew, and everyone too. And I think I talked about this a long time ago. Whatever happens throughout the reverse diet, you cannot control. You must surrender. Whether you gain weight, lose weight, or maintain weight, it doesn't matter. You need to reverse. It's the point of the process. You can mitigate a lot of those I guess outcomes, but you cannot control the outcome. I gained weight. I lost weight initially and then I gained it back, but it was healthy because I looked fuller, I looked leaner, I looked healthier, and so on. And my metabolism was in a good place to go into another fat loss phase if I wanted to. So the thing is, this is not going to be the first fat loss phase and the first or the last reverse diet. We're going to have to do several iterations in order for you to get to the body that you want, right? People don't just cut for like a year and then go through one reverse diet and call it quits. You're probably going to have to do like 3 or 4. That's real shit. I've had to do like 3 just to get lean enough and keep all the fat off, because that's what you're doing. So, and we'll also explain the mindset and the avoidance of binge eating and why it's important and for all the aspects of health in terms of going through reverse. So I know the reverse diet can be a little complicated. I went through it a long time ago, but we can do another call on that if you guys want, so you guys can understand what a reverse diet looks like and make sure that everyone understands why I'm giving you more food or less food, depending on what your goals are. So yeah. Does anyone have any questions while we're here, though, since we're talking about reverse dieting? Andrew or anyone else? I'll set up a call. Okay. That's fine. And then we also want to make sure that we're communicating. There's no shame around food. Many of my clients fear talking to their coach. So like, if there's like, I'm glad that you're setting up a call, Andrew, because soon we're probably due for a reverse. Like I was saying in your last check-in, like I don't want to push food any lower right now because we're hitting that threshold. So we also want to challenge the negative thoughts. So remember this, fat is a perception. My job as a coach is to dig deeper and understand where it's coming from. We often say we feel fat when we're just feeling off. What do we think about ourselves as a person, though? You may project general unhappiness and unfulfillment, etc., onto your body. So if you're feeling generally unhappy, then you're going to just say, I'm a piece of shit, I'm fat, or I'm ugly, and etc., etc. I'm not worthy. So it's a projection onto your body when you feel these feelings, right? Which is very normal, very human. I get it. I do the same. But we catch that, right? And then you ask yourself after you catch it, why do you want to consistently live with the thoughts surrounded around your body? Key question. So I think I sent this, there was a reel that I sent in the chat one time, and it was another coach that I know. She's really good. And it was basically, 2 versions of her, same person, but she was choosing to be a role of her friend, I guess. And her friend was just saying, hey, get off the couch, you're really fat. And then the girl on the couch says, that was really mean. And then as her friend, she says, yeah, that's what you call yourself all the time. So why is it mean when I say it, when you tell yourself that same thing all the time? So it's basically like, why do you want to live with the same thoughts, with the thoughts that you tell yourself surrounded around your body all the time? And then when someone else tells you, it's mean, but that's what you're telling yourself. So everyone's just a mirror. Understand that. And then what would you do? What would you tell your best friend or loved one? Sorry. Would you tell your best friend or your loved one the same things you say about your body? Literally just what I said. So, and then you can also journal on this, okay? Prompts about self-love, how you see your body and your gratitude. Journal about meals, certain foods, certain digestion patterns, and so on. And fear about foods or anxiety around foods. Post-meal digestion walks are great, as I've told many people. Walk without distraction or voice memo is my form of reflection after a meal. That's what I like to do. And we also want to address triggers. So if there's a need for control, then we want to definitely address that. Is the need for control coming around stress or people or work or social media or just negative thoughts in general? Do you feel stuck in your trigger or your cycle? And then you want to understand what your triggers are. If it's stress or if it's anxiety or if it's conditional self-love or if it's not looking a certain way, etc. You can make the change and adjust your perspective. So I'm trying to shift your perspective here around food and how you see your body and fat being a perception. I mean, there's obviously like obese and then there's fat. For example, Christina's not on here. So Christina is one of my clients. She's not on here, but I was saying in her check-in, because she was talking about her cycle and how she feels off. And we're only like 2 weeks into the diet. I'm like, it's okay. You're going to lose. I promise. Don't tear apart your body just now. And what you have is very healthy fat. And I told her, I have healthy fat. Look at my love handles. Look at my lonjas. Like, this is just healthy fat. Lonjas are basically Spanish for like muffin top. And she messaged me. She's like, you don't have lonjas. And I'm like, that's what my thoughts say. Right. So even to this day, like, understand, even as, I guess, lean as I am, I still pick apart my body every now and then, but I catch it. And she caught it for me too. She's like, you don't have any. I'm like, I know. That's what I call it. I don't know what else to call it. So anyway, and then if social media is a trigger, we also want to do a social media detox if you're comparing yourself to a bunch of people on social media. So you want to be not scrolling for certain parts of the day to avoid comparison, self-sabotage, food focus, or doom scrolling. And then we also want to be vulnerable, right? Be vulnerable with me, with the chat, with everyone. Now let's talk about binge eating. The HALT principle. I got this from another coach, and it's very good. I like it a lot. So if anyone has struggled with binging, or you binge now, or if there's any signs of it, this is good. So it basically helps to force presence before eating, checking in on what you are feeling. And it helps to not work on automatic and subconscious actions. So if you're eating and you're not chewing your food, because it's so normal for you to just sit down and just scarf your food down, this can help. So the H stands for, am I hungry? Am I actually hungry? If you're hungry, find a nutritious meal and sit down to eat without distractions. If I gave you a plate of fruits, veggies, and protein source, and you wouldn't eat it, then you're not hungry. Real shit. If I gave you a plate of fruit and veggies and a piece of chicken or something, or steak, and you don't eat it, then you're not really that hungry. Or for the vegetarians in here, because I know there's a vegetarian. If I gave you fruit, veggies, and some tofu on the side, would you eat it? And if not, then you're not that hungry. People will always eat the carbs without a second thought. But when you are present with chicken, beef, etc., and you don't want it, you're not hungry. There's no battling that. So that's the H. The A is, am I angry? Or any emotion. Any emotion. It can be anxious. It can be depressed. It can be fearful. It can be shameful. It can be whatever comes to mind. Instead of eating your anger away, deal with it in a healthy and productive way, like going on a walk or a run or talking to a friend or voice memoing or talking to me. There's so many different ways outside of food. And if you're really that angry and you need to eat the food, have a bite. Don't have the fucking cake. Don't eat the entire thing. Have self-control. She's not here either. Lisa, she's another client and she's in the chat, but she's not here. She has history of also eating a lot of sweets and going through entire chocolate bars. And I struggled with the same thing. So I was telling her, start with half of the thing that you're craving. And then start with half of that half next time. And then half of that half. Keep bringing it down until it's just a little hit of the food that is enough. to satisfy the craving. So you can put the anger away and then deal with it. So what you're really trying to do is eat away your emotions, and you're avoiding the emotion. If you speak the emotion into existence, you're at least aware of it. Andrew, or not Andrew, Anthony, you raise your hand? What's up, bro?
Yeah, a tip for the chocolate. Instead of chewing the bar, I usually just let it melt in my mouth, and by the time I get this flavor of the chocolate, and the craving goes away.
Oh,
That's just a tip for me as well.
that's good. Actually, I like that. Oh, I never thought about that. I kind of do the same thing with ice cream now that I think about it. If like I only have a half a serving, I'll just like let the ice cream melt in my mouth, and I'm like, that's what I needed. Oh, that's funny. Oh, never noticed that. Good tip. Like that. The L stands for am I lonely, which is a state or an experience, right? Different from an emotion. If you're lonely, it's a state of being, right? I am feeling lonely. I am lonely is different from I am feeling XYZ, because the feeling part is the emotion. So eating away loneliness will only drive you further into isolation. Call a friend, go outside, be at a social event. Go touch some grass and get some motherfucking sun. And other states or experiences can be isolation or emptiness or depression or boredom or self-esteem. These are states of being, not an emotion. There's differences. But I guess they both require you to be aware of what's going on, and for you to not just be aware of it, but work through it in a healthy way, or doing a healthy hobby. And if you need to have a thing, have it with the proper portion size. Because again, we're flexibly dieting. I'm not like, you can eat the fucking ice cream, just don't eat the pint. And the last one is, am I tired? Is your body telling you that you need to sleep? Or is your body is telling you that you need to sleep, not food. Establish a bedtime routine and stick with it. That's it. So if you guys want to take a picture of this or screenshot, drop a 1 in the chat if you do so. One. Nice, Jeff. 1. Nice. Good, Izzy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Solid. If anything, I'll drop a screenshot in the Discord. Noise, Sky. And continuing for binge eating. So scarcity mindset. So, for example, if we have looser macro targets, like if I give you just calorie and protein goals, and you eat all your food too soon, and then you get hungry at night, and then you self-sabotage at night and binge, that's a you problem. So here's a solution. Have more frequent meals. 5 to 6 meals instead of 3 to 4. Or even 2 to 3 if you're eating all your food that soon. Another solution is you can space out your meals more, eating every 4 to 5 hours instead of every 2 to 3, and drinking a fuck ton of water. Another solution, having equal calorie targets for each meal. So if you have 2,500 calories, 5 meals of 500 calories. Very easy. Another solution for binge eating is we want to discuss struggles around their significant others. So, for example, if you're around people that trigger you to eat sweets or to have shitty food, family, friends, whatever, this is where we want to ideally address that, so that way we can have a conversation with the person or just create better boundaries. So an example is I struggle with cereal and I struggle with cereal and can't control yourself. What the fuck? I meant myself. If struggle with cereal, I'm going to put myself in here anyway. If I struggle with cereal and I can't control myself, the thing you want to do is plug your craving into your day every day, and I bet you'll get tired of it. So this is kind of what I was telling Lisa with the chocolate thing. right? Have your chocolate every day, but instead of having the whole bar, you're going to have the tiniest piece, like a portion of it, and you're going to track it and you're going to have it every day. And it's going to desensitize you to that food, because the reason you crave it is because you're not having it and you're restricting yourself so hard. And instead of binging on it in one day or in 1 minute, control yourself. Recognize, use the HALT principle and recognize what you're feeling and why you want to have the entire thing. So only have 1 serving a day until you're tired of it. We did this with someone in the community because there was a savory craving and it was stress related. So basically what I just said. And we also want to do no compensation for binges. Compensation means if you're eating Monday through Thursday, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, and 2,000. And then Friday is 4,000 calories. And then Saturday is 1,000, 1,000. Sorry, Saturday and Sunday are 1,000, 1,000. You're trying to compensate, right? You basically took 1,000 calories off of Saturday and Sunday, both, which leaves you with 2,000 calories, and you added it to 1 day. And this was from a behavior, not from a refeed. Refeeds are structured, right? If I give you a refeed with specific targets to hit on a certain day, it's different. But if you're doing it out of like, I'm at a buffet and I'm trying to eat everything in sight, then we need to talk. And if you binge, remember, no shame. Like, talk to me. I'm glad that you guys do talk to me. No restriction, no extra cardio, and forgive yourself and realize it happened and move on. It happens. I've done it. Trust me. I tracked a binge one time, post-show, sushi. I think I put it on YouTube. I think I had like 7,000 calories worth of sushi. It was nuts. I tracked all of it, and I ate until I was a balloon. So, and I put it up on YouTube. I can send you guys the video if you want. It's one of those things where you have to show those parts of you and talk about the parts of you that are obvious instead of suppressing them. So that way you can work through it. Otherwise, if you're not aware of it, you can't work through it. Oh, I literally just, wow, I got ahead of myself. I did this post-show. I had a 6K cheat day and compensated the next day by eating 1,200 calories and restricting. So it was 6K, not 7K, whatever. I felt shame, guilt, violence, avoidance, not violence, avoidance, and wanted control. The next weekend, I had 4,500 calories and went back to normal calories the next day because I realized I was doing my body more harm than good. So if I like had a free meal one day, I went back to normal calories the next day instead of trying to restrict again. So if my day, for example, was 2,500 calories, I went back to 2,500 calories, not trying to cut more calories. You also want to be aware of trigger foods. Have your trigger foods with a whole meal to make sure you're full. So what that means is, example, have your dinner, then have your trigger food after. So for me, usually I have my dinner and then my half to 1 serving of ice cream with a protein mug cake. Protein mug cake is just like baked oatmeal and some protein powder. But I put ice cream on top of it to make it like a cake, basically, with ice cream on top. So if I have my dinner, I'm like, I'm actually still hungry and I still have calories. I'm going to use it. I'll portion size accordingly to make sure that I can have my craving. We want to desensitize the craving so it's no longer a craving. So use that to your advantage if you struggle with that. Healthy body image. Let's try and get through this so we can get through questions. Poor body image is a risk factor for disordered eating behavior. We want to focus on how you talk about yourself and your body. Be specific in your check-in. There's questions about that. You want to challenge the automatic negative thoughts about your body image. It's a choice to speak about yourself negatively. Remember that. It's a choice. It is a choice, but it's subconscious, but it's a choice nonetheless, because you have the choice to break the cycle. And if you're actively choosing to remain in the cycle, then you're choosing to remain in the cycle. To challenge them, you must ask yourself, is there evidence to prove that I am insert negative body statement? Right? Is there evidence to prove that I am fat, unworthy, ugly, blah, 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 depressed? Well, that's different. That's a state. All these things, if you're picking apart your body. And then we also want to normalize body functions and fluctuations like your cycle or bloating in general from foods. Social media makes it appear as if a body doesn't change. And if yours does, then it's not okay. I'm sure you see it all the time. Remember, social media is highlights. If people post pictures and videos, I can post a picture and a video from 30 weeks ago when I was lean and not bloated. And you would think, oh, that person's so lean. But it's not from today. They're probably off scale. They're probably not even planning today. And they're probably just posting that to make themselves feel validated. So bloating around your cycle, this is normal. Why be ashamed? You have a normal cycle, be grateful. Dudes, we bloat too. It's normal. Your body holds on to water in times of stress and inflammation. Building your perception of yourself as a person. Your shape doesn't define you. Your shape doesn't define you. That's just who you are. And yes, you have the ability and opportunity to build your shape and your body and work on your body every day, but it doesn't define you. How lean you are doesn't define you. It's your actions and perceptions and how you show up as a person. That's what defines you. That's what defines you. And if you do, obviously, both, where your actions speak health and they speak self-love and they speak that you care about your body, then it's going to stack up. Those two things stack up significantly. So you want to ask yourself, what do I bring to this world that no one else does? Take a screenshot. Why do I love myself? And that's it. Oops, fuck. Take a screenshot of those two if you want. What do I bring to this world that no one else does? And why do I love myself? And this will help you challenge the negative thoughts where it says, is there evidence to prove that I am XYZ? I'll let everyone take a screenshot. 3, 2, 1. Okay. And this one, you actually want to take a screenshot. Just wait. There's a lot of questions. These are journal prompts for you to ask yourself. Journal prompts. Right now, my body needs. Right now, my mind needs. Right now, my soul needs. There's a lot of these. Wait. I am grateful that today my body helped me XYZ. When I think of my body, the first thought that comes to my mind is, and because XYZ. When I think of my body, the first thought I'd like to think about is XYZ, because XYZ. I'd like to improve how I see and treat my body because XYZ. I feel best in my body when XYZ. I feel worst in my body when. I can be kinder to myself by doing these things. I believe I should eat XYZ, but what I really want is ZYX. I don't know. I believe I should wear XYZ, but I really want to wear is this. I believe I should do this, but what I really want to do is that. These are 5 people, places, activities, or things that make me happy. And then you list those. There's a lot of these. If my body were my best friend, I'd treat them with XYZ. You don't have to do all of these, but I want everyone to do at least 5 to 10. Choose. There's a lot of journal prompts. You don't have to do all of them. Give me one sec. We're not done yet. The next time body bashing thoughts overwhelm me, I will soothe my body by, and then choose your hobby or your technique or your whatever. The next thing I can ask my loved ones to do in supporting my body image is not continuing to call me XYZ or whatever. Right now, I really want to get this off my chest, XYZ. Today, I gave myself permission to XYZ. Today, I can boost my body image by doing this one small thing. There we go. There's 20 questions. I'm asking you to do half of them. You can do all of them if you really want. You know what? I'll make it fun. If you guys, since we're doing a challenge, because it's going to be launched tomorrow, by the way, the fitness challenge. It launches tomorrow at basically, or tonight at 1 a.m. So tomorrow. For every question that you do is 5 points. I'll add it to your total. No, I'll make every question 10 points. Yeah, that's a bit more. That should help. That's 200 points. So yeah, it'll add to your total, and then you can tell me, and then I'll add it, and then I'll make a note in your profile since we're doing the fitness challenge. But choose as many. Obviously, use genuine words. Don't just do them to get the points. This is to actually help you. Don't do it as like, oh, I'm gonna get extra credit. Just do the fitness challenge, and you'll get plenty of credit. But answer the ones you actually want to answer. Okay, now I actually have a screen for this. Comments, questions, concerns, and reflections and thoughts. We have a couple minutes. If anyone would like to come off mute or go back to another slide, you can. Any reflections? Would love to hear.
I have one, and I think I said this before. Yeah, the number on the scale doesn't matter, as I've learned with like my fitness journey with Mike. That I was the heaviest I've been, and then I also looked the most muscular I've ever looked. So it's really kind of, it's just a character. It's like one of the many traits of fitness. You also have to take into account like your body fat percentage and all that stuff. Excuse me. So I think it's healthy to think about your weight going up and down and going up, and you don't want to go up because weight is something that's like been so hyper fixated on in this like fitness and diet culture. It's not that serious. So I just hope, I know I've said it before, but yeah, and just eat when you have to, eat now when you have to. The healthier your relationship with food is, the better you'll see yourself, because you had the discipline to not be mean to yourself and nurture yourself, and food is fuel. That's all I have to say.
Good. Love that, brother. Yes, yeah. The scale, the number on the scale doesn't matter, because you clearly saw that you felt and looked more muscular at a heavier weight than you've ever been, and you were more confident. So that's huge. Most people can't grasp that.
Yeah, and eating what you have to eat and being balanced, and losing the charge around, oh, food will make me fat, I can't eat, blah blah. Losing that and having a better relationship with food also is part of having a better relationship with your own self and loving yourself. I've been working all day long, and I was going to keep working, and I'm like, wait, I haven't eaten, and I have to hit my nutrition goals. So like, I made the time to just find something healthy. Blessed that there was something healthy, and like that I can match my goals right now. So like, okay, let me just take the 20-30 minutes. I'll be happier, and I won't be cranky later, and I won't be like starving and wanting to have my mental health also get affected. As
Yeah.
it is, it's hard to keep your mental health. Just supporting yourself, right? Becoming your own support system as much as possible. So
Yeah. Love that. Good, brother. I'm glad.
thank you.
Thanks for sharing. That was beautiful. Any more shares?
I every time there's these like group chats, I feel like they hit really hard.
Beautiful.
I mean, like, especially talking about surrender. Like, to be vulnerable, I have struggled my whole life with control. I have a control complex. I can recognize that now, and I can see the signs. When I am in stressful, traumatic situations where I am out of control, I not as much anymore, but I used to use eating as a way to control my life, or I guess I would restrict a lot. Um, I mean, even in stressful situations, my body will physically just like feel sick to the point where I just don't eat for like days, and I won't feel hungry. And it's literally like going to my therapist and just being like, I don't know what's going on. I just feel so sick. And they're like, do you feel sick or do you feel out of control? Because I know your body is wanting to eat food, but your mind isn't allowing you to do that because you need that semblance of control. And it's like something that I still struggle with now, like even just fairly recently. Like I went through a very stressful situation and I literally went 3 days without eating anything because I felt like physically sick. Like I like looking at food, I couldn't. And it took me just doing a lot of like sitting in my own feelings, like recognizing what was going on, talking to my therapist, like gradually easing back into it to get myself out of that hole. And like something that's really helped me over the years, my therapist told me, like when you're feeling out of control and you feel like the only thing you can do is starve yourself so that your body will look a certain way, like look in the mirror and just find one thing that you can say about yourself positively. Like find a single thing that you like about yourself. Because honestly, like at the end of the day, a lot of it, like a lot of it comes down to like self-loathing and not being able to control the things that you want to control. So I physically have to look at myself in the mirror and be like, okay, I love the color of my eyes. I love my hair. You know, I love my smile. Like, why am I not smiling as much? Because I love my smile. Like things like that to get me out of a funk. Or like back when I played volleyball, my coach, super toxic, he was like, the skinnier you are, the higher you'll jump. So y'all need to be as skinny as possible. So I went through a period of restricting and then binging and purging because I lost the control that I had restricting, and I would just eat as much as I could, like to the point where I would literally like look at everything that I would eat and be like physically sick. Like I didn't even need to like force myself. Like my body would just get sick because I'd look at it and be like, wow, like that's fucking disgusting. Like you can't even like control that, you know? And just like years and years of work, years of like self-motivation, like years of practicing self-love, like getting yourself out of that cycle and like forgiveness and truly just like surrendering to the fact that like it's okay sometimes to not be in control. Like control your reaction to situations. Like that's where you get your control, not control by not eating or like eating a ton, you know? And like eat things that you love because you love it. Don't just like you were saying earlier in the call, like what you eat on your free day says a lot like about how you're feeling about yourself. Like I had to really work with myself on that for a long, long time. I don't know. So it just like really hit.
That was super powerful. I'm
I
really
told
proud
you I'm trying to be vulnerable.
I'm really proud of you for sharing that. That's amazing. And you're one of the strongest people I know for sharing that. It's really brave of you to show up and continue to do the work that people say that they're going to do. And then you actually are living proof, you know, and everyone in here that has done the work, it's you continue to show up as living proof of the person that you want to become. And I mean, you know, the work is never done, and I'm glad that you're being very aware of all these cycles, which is
Mm.
amazing. That's so now that I guess a question for you, and I guess for everyone else to kind of share. When you re-experience triggers or the traumas, or when you re-experience it, does it feel safe in that moment to go back to that, like naturally? Or does it feel like unsafe because you've gotten to the point where healthy eating is so safe for you now? Does that make sense?
For me, and I don't know if this is just like years and years and like so many situations where I just have to like pull myself up by my bootstraps, like get up no matter how much I want to be down. I actually it's not like a feeling of safety. I literally feel numb. I feel nothing. And it's just like we talk about, growth is uncomfortable. Like living in a state of discomfort is okay because you're changing, you know? For me, regressing into that mindset of like, I feel so sad, I feel so lost, I feel so down, I just don't want to eat anything. It literally feels like I'm on autopilot. And that, like, for me, that kind of like tells me that, I mean, not even tells me, this is just something I'm aware of. This is a lifelong issue that I'm going to struggle with. Like, it will be a struggle. The body dysmorphia, like the feeling of, like when I'm stressed, like, oh, I forgot to eat today, or like when I'm sad, like the multiple days just like not wanting to take in any kind of nutrients, just wanting to sleep. Like this is something, and I want like everyone who struggles with stuff like this to know, like, it's okay to like have those times, but it's like how you pull yourself out of it. Like that's what counts, because like it's gonna happen. You're gonna regress. You're gonna trip and fall, and that's okay. But like choosing how you react and how you manage yourself, like getting yourself out of those feelings, that's like truly what counts. That's where your strength shows. Like that's where you have to like really realize like you are a strong person. Like you're not the person who is restricting. Like you are not that person anymore. You can pull yourself out of it, and it's okay. Like forgiving yourself, giving yourself grace. Like it's okay to fall every now and then as long as you get back up. I don't know if I answered that question, but
That was fucking amazing. Yes. No, you answered the question.
yeah.
You didn't answer it. You just wrote the definition of the question.
Yes.
I guess I could share something.
Go for it,
On
brother.
the week, yeah, I don't know if you noticed this, Mike, but on the weekends, sometimes when I don't know if this is the same for everyone, but it's like I eat less when I'm rested. Like if I'm not constantly thinking and doing things, then I constantly don't think about food, think about other things. So something I do for that is, other than the tracking thing, is I'll tell people on the weekends, either ask me if I've eaten or ask how my week was, and it kind of kicks me back into gear on what I did throughout the week, and it keeps me responsible on my check-ins as well. Because lately I've not been checking in until like Monday morning, which is terrible because I used to check in on Fridays. But me and Mike are working on that. And based on what Allison said, if any of y'all are going through trouble, just remember that Mike's here. I've talked to him about certain things. He'll listen. He'll help you get through that as well. And if y'all don't want to tell Mike for some reason, he'll listen as well.
I'm glad you feel comfortable around talking to me, guys. I mean, that's ideally the position I want to be in. And I feel very honored to be in that position so that you guys can share that. And, not just to me, but, like Ali sharing on this call and being vulnerable to everyone and saying that it's normal. Like what we go through, I've experienced it, she's experienced it, Anthony's experienced it. I'm sure everyone here has experienced some way, shape, or form what I talked about on the call. I'm glad it hit, so that way you guys can understand no one is going to ever be perfect in your nutrition journey, and that's okay. But as long as you're continuing to work through them and not continuing to choose to stay in the cycle, that's the important part. Otherwise, you're going to continue to live that cycle, and it's going to be living out of fear and shame and guilt, and those are very low vibrational frequencies where we don't want to hang out. That was beautiful, guys. Does anyone else want to share before we go? We got time for one more. I know someone felt something.
I know I relate a lot to what Ali was saying, especially because you know everything that's been going on like these past 2-3 weeks, and it's just been so stressful lately. But I feel like celebrating those little wins, even though like I wasn't like fully like able to do what I wanted to do, kept me back to like remembering that this is only temporary and that this is not something that I'm gonna like keep on going forever, and
Yes.
knowing that I can get back into it, because that's the mindset that I have now, instead of just being like, oh well, I'm stressed out, I'm falling into this cycle again and it's just gonna happen and we're just not gonna do this anymore, you know.
Yes. I'm glad. Don't give it. Yeah, that's exactly. Jumping back on the train is everything. It's everything.
Yeah,
You
because
can't.
there's like other things that I had to do, and there's only like one of me, and nobody else is gonna do it for me, so I have to give myself grace for that, and just knowing that once I have the opportunity to do it, that I know that I'm gonna get back into it and do it.
Yeah. I'm glad you're jumping back on the train and you're just making the routine in your new lifestyle right now, because I know there's a lot of
Yeah.
moving pieces.
Yeah.
Moving in general is ass. So, Ali said, "Girl, remember you?" I think Ali's talking to you in the chat, Sky. Remember, you have a support system of people who love the fuck out of you. It's scary to be vulnerable, but surrender to yourself and lean on us and everyone else in your life. You have people, you aren't alone. Remember that. Love it. Hell yeah. Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel this right now because you guys know, like, well, some of y'all know I have a support group for moms who have like kids with autism and like other disabilities, and I'm always the one like supporting them and everything, but this time they like supported me, and it just felt so good to like have that support
Yes.
whenever I didn't even say anything, but they knew what was going on, and they just did it out of the kindness of their heart to like just be there for me and help out in any way that they could. So it was, yes, that right there.
Yes. Well, you have a lot of support everywhere, but if there's something that because it comes down to like who helps the helper.
Hmm.
If you're helping them and you're taking care of a lot of that, that's why I want to make sure that you lean into community where everyone helps each other. If everyone is expecting a lot from you, then it's like, then what, you know?
Yeah. So it felt nice to have that because I swear it was like one thing after another, and they just
Yeah.
they kind of
Emmanuel,
grounded me.
exactly. Emmanuel also said, "There's no greater show of self-love than when you keep doing the thing for yourself, no matter what, because deep inside, your inner self knows that you are worth it. The fact that we show up for ourselves proves to us we change, heal, do better for ourselves. We are all in this together." Love it. Exactly. Exactly. The more you continue to stack those not confirmations, stack proof that you are who you say you are, it just continues to show that like you're worth doing this thing for, and you have people that are here to support you for that. So beautiful, guys. I'm glad this call hit. Nice. It was like mindset and nutrition, which is cool. It's recorded, so I'm gonna obviously post it. I posted all the other ones, so everyone knows. So the playlist is full. Ash's calls, my calls, everyone's calls are there. If you need them, they're there. Go watch them. I think most of them, if they're not there, they're probably scheduled. I think they might end the scheduling this Friday. I have to check, but they all should be there, and this one will be there soon. But if you have any questions, reach out, guys. You have support. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Not weekend. What the fuck? Has a great Tuesday. Have a great night. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.